Okay, going to getting ready for our bye week. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Baylor. I know that's probably all you guys want to talk about is the Baylor game, not anything that happened last weekend. So, but going with where I give you our schedule as far as where we're at. We came back, got in late as everybody did on Saturday, and then still had contemplated giving them a few days off, but obviously that didn't happen. We came in, had a normal Sunday. We'll go out and practice today and tomorrow and Thursday, and then give them a couple of days off while we go recruit Thursday and Friday. Got to get back here Saturday because Sunday is an important practice day for moving forward. So got a couple of days here this week to be able to address some of the things that went wrong, which there's plenty, and then kind of get ahead on Baylor just a little bit. Got lots of information on those guys. They're doing a good job, so got to work it out for us. But our game week prep will start on Sunday, which will allow us to have a full week of practice heading into that Thursday night game. So I think it sets up good for where we're at. We're 6 games into it. Season's really pretty much half over, a little over half over. We got one game here in the next almost 20 days, so we'll be able to heal up and work on some things and recalibrate a little bit and, hopefully clear our heads from what happened and then, get ready for finish the year strong. So that's where we're at. Take some questions.
Danny, you said in the past that
You've moved spots on me, Coach Hunter. I was like, what happened? You ain't here.
You got to play multiple positions today. So
okay.
You have said in the past that once you watch the film, things aren't as good or as bad as maybe you originally thought. Now that you've digested it, obviously you weren't happy immediately after. Did you see anything good?
You know what's weird is, I felt like we were ready to play. And our energy was good. The locker room before the game was great. Our prep was normal. Guys' attitude at the hotel was on point. They were engaged. The pregame, although it appeared to me like it was a circus. I mean, there was a buzz, which they played that up big, as we all know, and we knew they were going to. It had circus qualities to it, as much as that was going on around there. But our guys had a good warm-up, and then the locker room was good. And they hit the field, and they were ready to play. And our sidelines, really honestly, the entire game, our sidelines were good. And you look at the way we played, we didn't have loafs. We didn't have lack of effort, which is weird because it felt like, we got whooped. There's no way around it. We got our butt beat, but there wasn't any effort issues. So that's a positive. But other than that, that's it. It comes down to good old-fashioned blocking and tackling. And here's where I assume responsibility for it is they blocked and tackled better than we did. But I'm not. There's been plenty of times where we get whipped, and I'm just like, guys, you didn't play hard. You didn't play with effort. You didn't respect the game. You didn't prepare the right way. And there's been lots of those situations. That wasn't it. We simply couldn't sustain blocks. We couldn't get off coverage. Defensively, we were stuck on blocks, and we missed a lot of tackles. That's a good old-fashioned butt kicking when it comes to blocking and tackling, and that's head coach responsibility. Got to do a better job. Okay.
No,
I'm just joking.
Was there one area that stood out the most looking at the film, or was it just a multitude?
Yeah, pretty much just said it. It's just you got to block and you got to tackle. I don't know how else to say it. They did a much better job of preparing their guys for being able to block and sustain blocks. I mean, it's frustrating as a coach when you have things blocked up and guys are just getting off blocks and making tackles. You know, and it's normal for defensively. I mean, those guys are good offensive coaches too, so they're going to have things blocked up and ID'd right, and then we can't get off blocks. You know, there's going to be times where they got things fitted up right, and I mean, David Long is awesome of a player as he is. I mean, he bails us out because he's blocked a lot and he gets off blocks and makes plays. So, you know, there's always things that from a scheme perspective, I wish we could have done this different or would have done this different. We got to do a better job of some in-game adjustments at times. I think for the most part, we generally do that. You know, I think our half times are generally pretty good, and we make some adjustments, and we made a few, but when you got things blocked up and they're getting off blocks making plays, then that poses a little bit of a problem.
After watching tape, everything both ways.
Well, everybody, I mean, it's part of welcome to you know, Power 5 quarterback spot getting lots of national attention. I mean, you're gonna, you know, the finger is gonna get pointed at him. It's gonna get pointed at the play caller, and it's gonna get pointed at me. I mean, that's just the way things are, and that's the way things have always been, and the way things are gonna continue to be. You know, we watched the 42 plays, and he did not play great. There is a lot of times there wasn't anything he could do. You know, there is, you know, from a run game perspective, we did the right stuff. We had numbers. We just, you know, there's times where they got off blocks and made plays for 0-yard gain. You know, so that was fine. Then we kind of got behind. We had to start throwing the ball. They would rush 3 or 4, and he would get flushed out of the pocket quicker than I'd like, which he flushed out of the pocket. We knew that was going to happen. They had dropped 7 and 8 people in coverage a lot, so there wasn't guys to throw to initially, and we knew that. That's how we beat him last year, is he was flushed out of the pocket, and he sat there, and he kept his eyes downfield and made a couple of plays downfield that allowed us to be able to win the game. The defenders got to him a lot quicker than what they did last year, which made him have to make decisions quick, and then there's nobody to throw the ball to. So what do you want him to do? Well, I'd like for him to throw the ball away and prevent 13-yard sacks. He got frustrated because there wasn't anybody to throw to, and he missed a couple of reads. And you know, you're one of the top quarterbacks in the country. There's throws that I think you can make even when guys are covered. So he's got to trust his ability and continue to trigger those throws and not worry about some bad things that could potentially happen. He will improve, but I need O-linemen to improve. I need our run game to improve, and I need receivers to get off coverage and get open, and that will improve as well.
You mentioned blocking, tackling. Obviously, is it kind of back to the basics this week, or are there specific adjustments to be made?
Yeah, we'd do. Yeah, that to me is more of a mindset than it is technique. We've been practicing that stuff around here year round. You know, and you look back at the previous games defensively, and we've done a great job of tackling. You look back at the previous games, and we've won big games. You know, we've won against quality opponents. You know, college football, it's hard to win, and you got to be ready to go every single week. We've been pretty good at that around here, so let's not forget that. You're not going to see panic out of me or our program. You're not going to see panic out of our players or, in particular, our senior leaders. This is going to motivate us more than it's going to discourage us. I can guarantee you that. So we will, get back to the basics and go out and practice hard for a couple of days. And part of that's blocking and tackling. Part of it's just timing with running routes and throwing balls and catching balls and kicking and catching and all that good stuff. We're pretty anxious to get out there for the next 2 days and practice this great game.
Kenny, your critique of Will, it kind of sounded similar to what he was saying about himself after the Kansas game. He forced things too many times, and you're saying maybe he didn't pull the trigger. Are those related at all?
It could be, but he can't play like that. It could be. I think the situation was more problematic than what was going on in his head. You know, our receivers could not get open. And now why? I mean, I don't know. They could get open the previous 5 games. I give Iowa State credit. They played absolutely lights out. They played really, really, really good. I'm talking especially defensively. I mean, they played really, really, really good. And I got a lot of respect for Coach Haycock and have watched him for 3 years there, and he's building a really good defense. They played lights out. And so, you know, we got to play lights out in order to be able to combat that, and we didn't. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, Will's got to trust what's going on. He's got to trust the O-line to do their job, and he's got to sit back there in the pocket, and he's got to keep his eyes where we want him to keep his eyes and throw the balls that we want him to throw and have confidence in being able to do it. And he will do that moving forward.
How does it happen, Dan, that all things go bad at once? I mean, you know, even when you think of, you know, your receivers, you've had receivers, you have a lot of options on the receivers, yet none of them were getting open. How does that?
Yeah, I don't know, Bob. I chalk it up to this great game of college football. It didn't just happen to us last week. It happens every week. It's happened. Iowa State's done a good job of doing it here over the last couple of years. We've done it here. We did it to them last year. We did it to Baylor a couple years ago when they were top 5, came here and couldn't get anything going. And they were pretty good on offense. It happens in college football. You know, and you gotta take your butt whipping when you get it, and you gotta use it as motivation to recalibrate and work harder and get out there and make sure it doesn't happen again. That's where we're currently at. I guess it was our turn.
Gator, you referenced blocking several times today. What's your evaluation of your offensive line?
They're not the only ones that block, Coach, right? We need our receivers to do a much better job of blocking on the perimeter. That's one of the things I will focus on at practice today. But yeah, okay, you know, just okay. They've had their good moments and their bad moments. We were ID'd much better. You know, some issues against Kansas were some ID issues, some missed points, some effort issues at times. You know, we were better in that regard. Now we didn't finish blocks. You know, we were blocking the right people, and you know, we got to do a little bit better with finishing those blocks. Other than that, it's really the same thing. I mean, O-line, receivers, running backs. You know, Will got sacked on one of them because Kennedy didn't finish a block. You know, he fits up on a linebacker. He's got to sustain that block longer than 0.2 seconds, and so that's an offensive across the board issue that we will focus on this week.
You're at the point of no return with Isaiah Hardy. What do you think of
Yeah,
that?
I mean, he's a starting lineman for us right now. We don't redshirt starting linemen. You know, Joe Brown was available, but he's pretty new to the program, and when he's not practicing at a high rate, we're not going to play him. So he needs to practice at a higher rate. He's going to be healthier this week and have more opportunities to practice, so that could change how we insert people into the game. But right now, Isaiah is one of our best 5, and he'll keep playing moving forward. It would have been nice to be able to do that, but we're a little bit more worried about this year and putting our best lineup out there against Baylor than anything that happens after this year.
Another issue.
Any thoughts about onside kicking 5 minutes ago? How did that safety? I know you're deep in your own.
Yeah, I mean it was discussed. It was discussed, but I tell you what really detours you from doing it is when you get a penalty or a safety and you're kicking off from the 20. That's a hard area to onside kick at, you know, because now the opponent's getting the ball on the 30-yard line, and I mean that's awful hard for your defense.
Dan, on another issue, and I don't necessarily expect you to answer this or have anything to say, but the Justin Crawford incident, any comment or thoughts on that?
I don't know how you want me to comment on that, Bob. I mean, that's a pretty inappropriate question in my book.
Danny, you mentioned that after a game like that, the fingers get pointed at you and the quarterback and the play calling. What was your assessment of the play calling Saturday?
I think it was fine. We got to do. It wasn't fine. We got to do a better job. And there's always games where every game you play in, every game you coach in, every game you call, you can look back on it and say, I wished I would have done this. I wished I would have done that. That exists everywhere in college football. You know, the play calling was exactly what I was a part of throughout the course of the week of developing the game plan. You know, it didn't have anything to do with what plays were called. It was the same plays that were called when we were having 600 and some yards against some decent defenses. You know, I think Texas Tech's got a pretty good defense. I think Kansas State's got a pretty good defense. It's all the same play calls. I mean, those plays worked. You know, it has way more to do with, you know, with in this case, you know, how we block people and how we finish blocks and how we come out of our cuts at receiver and how we attack the ball. I mean, there's a lot of other things that you can point your finger at. I ain't buying in the scheme. We're doing exactly what I want to do on offense.
With only 42 plays, there might not have been a package or might not have gotten to that part of the playbook where he could have played, but was the fact that Sink was even dressed out just for window dressing, or was he maybe able
Well,
to go?
those guys are both dealing with things, and you know they weren't as ready to go as 6 and 32 were. I thought Kennedy and Petaway both ran the ball okay. I mean, when you're running into defenders, you know, you'd like to make a bunch of guys miss like David Montgomery did. That guy's really good. I mean, that is a special running back. But you know, we'll use those guys when we need to use those guys. There's been times where Kennedy goes in the third and the fourth quarter fresh and he's ready to go. We couldn't get anything going. So those guys were available, and they're going to be a big part of what we're doing moving forward. They just weren't as healthy as those other two guys were. We made the decision to go with those two guys, and I don't regret that at all. We'll see how they practice, and based on how they practice here in the next 10 days, we'll see who gets the nod, and then we'll do it like we normally do it.
Shea Campbell comes off the bench, leads you in tackles. Was that the brightest spot from this game for you?
It one of them. I was happy with Shea. He went in. He switched positions. He's been playing Sam, and he moves to Mike because Tonk tried to go and he couldn't go. And I thought he did an adequate job. You know, I was happy with him with how he practiced throughout the course of the week, and then he went in there and he made some good stops.
How would you describe the mood in the locker room among the players right now, and did you feel like they could use a week off, not just from, you know, a game, but from dealing with us after?
Yeah, it's their kids. You know, and I felt like, you know, our heads were a little cloudy is how I described it to them. I thought their heads were a little cloudy. They were quiet after the game. It was quiet. You know, there was disappointment. There was sincere disappointment. You know, and so I wanted to give them some time off, not just from you guys, but they got a little bit off the last couple of days, and they get a few more days off here moving forward. I would say the mood right now is determination. You know, a lot of them didn't even want a day off. You know, they're like, let's go practice. I'm like, well, there's rules against that. You know, we can't just practice them, you know, to no end. But I'd say it's determination. They're ready to get out there and get going.
Dana, Derek had a scare in the fourth quarter with the awkward slip. I don't know. Okay, anything yet?
Yeah, it's not long term, which is good news. You know, he's going to have to rehab it, and you know, there's 4 or 5 guys that were going down, you know, pulling themselves out of the game. That happens when you're getting your butt kicked, you know. So nothing happened in the game that was long term. Okay, now he's going to have to work at it a little bit. You know, he did this last year too. He tweaked his knee last year, game 6 or something like that, and you know, missed missed about a month. Hopefully he's more mature, and he will be more aggressive with his rehab. And guys with bumps and bruises go to that training room every day. And the more aggressive you are, the healthier you get, and the quicker you get healthier. So yeah, I know he'll work on it. It's good time for a bye week for that to be able to happen. When he comes back, I don't know. He's playing good. So hopefully he gets back real quick.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Anything else?
I have one.
Yeah.
A bunch of questions yesterday. I think you fielded one of them was kind of how, I don't know, the new kind of guarding the spreads and run defenses with the dime or whatever, and all cyclical stuff. But when there's a new thing in college football, and you've done some of this stuff with the diamond, for example, do coaches really sit around and go, I think I have a way to beat something? Let me come up with something that no one's done before. And then how do you know you have something when it hasn't?
When it works.
Yeah, well, I mean, when do you put that on the field?
That, like what Iowa State's doing, is a spinoff of what Gibby's been doing for a long time. It's a spinoff on that. And Kansas has already took it, and I've noticed that Texas is kind of took it. So it's trending into a 3 down, especially in the Big 12. It's trending towards a 3 down, different looks, not just odd front or stack front, but different looks with different second level and third level and fourth level defenders now. So I've never seen 4 layers of defense, and I'm starting to see 4 layers of defense. Based on what they did to us, he probably ought to write a book. So that's gaining momentum, and so now offenses have got to figure out what they're going to do about it. So I'm going to go watch some film, figure out what the hell I'm going to do about it.